Welcome back. Let's get more now on our top story. A human rights agency has said more than 2,500 people have been killed while protesting in Iran, with thousands arrested. Some estimates suggest the numbers could be higher. President Trump has urged demonstrators to stay on the streets and warned of very strong action if the country's regime executes those that they've detained during the clashes. Well, let's discuss this further with the British-Iranian investigative reporter and documentary filmmaker SAHAR ZAND. A very good morning to you. Thanks so much for coming in.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me.
What's the latest that you're hearing of, I guess, the scale of the protests, the extent to which they're ongoing and the clampdown?
The latest number that has been confirmed by Iranian authorities, who apparently said to Reuters journalists, is 2,000, and that is very conservative. If they are saying this number, human rights groups that are closely monitoring the events in Iran are saying that the number could be much, much higher. The latest number I've heard is that it could be as high as 20,000. And that's hardly surprising because the footage we're getting from Iran, the UGC, the videos that people are managing to get out, which has been so difficult. It's only possible through Starlink, which is a crime to have in Iran. It's a VPN that allows you to be able to communicate with outside without internet during shutdowns like this. We have seen authorities opening fire to everyone and anyone on the street. That's why amongst many of those killed are actually children. I have managed to get in touch with a few protesters on the ground, including sources, for the first time since the blackout began. And I have found some incredibly shocking things that have been happening. I mean, I'm even struggling to put this in words, because just as you think the brutality of the Islamic Republic can't get worse, they come out and do worse. So I've heard that obviously hospitals are overflowing. There are certain hospitals that protesters can't go to, because we saw this happened in the previous protests when protesters went to certain hospitals. The authorities of those hospitals actually reported them to the police, to the authorities, and they ended up getting arrested. And later, the fact that they were in hospitals during that time was used against them to essentially execute them or imprison them. What I've heard is that families who go to collect the corpses of their loved ones who've been killed during these protests have to not only pay hefty fines, like huge fines, more than their monthly average earning, to collect these bodies, but they're also being made to pay for the bullets that were used to kill them.
Gosh.
As on top of that, another thing that's emerging is the fact that in order for families to receive the bodies of their loved ones, they're made to sign documents confirming that, yes, my relative, this friend, this person whose body I'm here to collect was a spy for Israel, was a spy for America, just to feed into this narrative that the Islamic Republic is trying to tell.
There's obviously lots of reasons why the protesters are on the streets. To what extent is one of them the hope or belief that there will be help from the outside? And to what extent are the latest comments overnight, clear comments from President Trump saying we will come to your aid, to your side, reaching those protesters?
Look, like many Iranians, I am also very conflicted about foreign interference. Why? Because look at our very recent history. Look at what happened with Iraq. Look at what happened with Yemen, Syria, Afghanistan. Foreign interference comes in. I don't think anyone believes that Trump's priority is human rights in Iran. People know this. Iranians know this. And people fear that they're like drowning. They're like someone who's drowning, right? They want any hand to help them up, but then they're worried that that hand might throw them into yet another body of water. But look at what's happening. They need help. These are civilians out on the street being killed with military-grade weapons. And without help, the bloodshed will continue. And they can only keep up these protests for so long. After the bloodshed, there will be another series of executions, right? So they need help. There is a power imbalance. But what will happen afterwards is something that many are worried about. Iranians want this regime gone. They want this regime toppled. They are proving this by standing on the streets of Iran up until this point. But without the help of people like Trump or outside governments, they can't achieve that. At the same time, they want a future that's democratic, that they can choose, and they don't want what's happened in many countries that I mentioned to happen to them. They are hearing it and they are helpful because, honestly, they have nobody else to help them right now.
Zahar Zand, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. British-Iranian documentary filmmaker.
Extraordinary to hear some of these details about Iran. It really is.